Good morning. Welcome to Good News for today, July the 2nd. And my name is Nick.
And I'm Tim.
I'll be reading from Luke 23, starting at verse 26. As they led him away, they seized Simon the Cyrene, who was on his way from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. For the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the barren women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Come over us.' For if men do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Today's readings from the New Testament were, one was from Acts, which was Paul on the road to Damascus, is meeting with the Lord on the road to Damascus. And it seems to me, as I recall, that we actually in one of our previous sessions dealt with that passage. So I thought that perhaps we would deal with this passage, considering that Easter is not that far gone. It's a little bit surprising to me anyway, perhaps, that this passage is part of our reading for this week, for today. But on the other hand, this is a very significant event, Christ's crucifixion, not just a very significant event, but I guess one could make the case that the story of Christ's passion is the very central event in all of history, in a sense. So I chose to, rather than to sort of come up with my own commentary on this, I chose to use a commentary that is available at BibleGateway.com. The commentary is the InterVarsity Press New Testament Commentary Series. Some of you who may have been involved in inter-school Christian fellowship in high school and at university InterVarsity Christian fellowship. I was involved sort of tangentially with ISCF and really only tangentially with InterVarsity as well, but I did attend a few InterVarsity sessions, and I've also come to appreciate the InterVarsity Press publications. And so this is, I'm going to just basically read from this commentary, and then we'll just see if there's anything at the end that we need to focus a little more on. Jesus' journey to his death is halted temporarily when the cross becomes too heavy for him to bear. Such cross-bearing was customary, but the day had been a long one. Romans did not bear the cross, which was considered a symbol of great shame. Someone was chosen from the crowd. Simon from Cyrene, a major North African center of Judaism, was conscripted to bear the cross. Cyrene is located near the modern area of Tripoli. Many suggest that Simon pictures the disciple following in the way of Jesus, but this seems unlikely. The description of his following with the cross does not echo the wording of Luke 9, verse 23 and 14, verse 27, and Simon suffers nothing during the process. At best, what is pictured involves Jesus sharing the shame of his death march with another who accompanies him. But such shame is less than a picture of discipleship with its accompanying rejection by the world. Though exhausted and needing aid, Jesus still interacts with the crowd, especially a group of women mourning over his coming demise. Luke singles them out from the large number of people. The great multitude appears to be caught up in the curiosity of the event, but the women who trail behind are not merely curious. They beat their breasts and wail for him. That seems to me perhaps to be a Middle Eastern custom. One sees that sort of wailing and occur even in news items that one sees from that area of the world today. They beat their breasts and wail for him. It is debated whether these mourning women are merely the standard Jewish mourners present at any death, those who gave the victims drugged drink to soothe their painful end, or genuine in their grief. Whatever option is intended, the text appears to treat their lament as entirely sincere. Jesus explains to them that the real tragedy is not his, but the nation's. In prophetic sounding words, Jesus addresses the women as representative of the nation. Daughters of Jerusalem, Jesus notes that they weep for the wrong thing. Weep for yourselves and for your children. I'm sorry. Jesus' rejection means judgment for the nation. In fact, that judgment represents the price for anyone who rejects Jesus. A key period of divine activity will come, as Jesus notes, the time will come. All blessings and curses will be reversed, for in those bitter days of judgment it will be better to be barren than to bear and nurture a child. As Jesus had told the Sanhedrin, he is the real judge, and to reject him is to come under God's judgment. So Jesus warns these women of the nation's coming pain for slaying its promised one. It would be better in those days to ask the creation, both mountains and hills, to collapse on top of one than to experience the misery of his judgment, of this judgment. Jesus closes with a parabolic question. If men do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry? The basic point is clear enough. The green wood is Jesus, while the dry wood is Jerusalem in judgment. If this situation is bad, it is nothing compared to what is to come. But there is debate as to who they are that treat the live green wood this way. Is it Rome, the Jews, humanity, or God? One of two options is best. Most likely is that the word is circumlocution. That's a tough word. For God. If God does this in judging his own Son for the sake of forgiveness, what will his judgment look like on those who reject his offer? The point is that if it is possible to consume live wood, then think how easy it will be to consume wood that is dry. If this reading is not right, then they would be the nation itself, since that is the natural historical referent. The tragedy, Jesus says, is not his death, but the nation's failure to choose deliverance, life, and forgiveness. The failure to choose correctly about Jesus has grave consequences. I think that probably suffices, folks. I hope that that was somewhat informative. This is a bit of a tough passage to comment on sort of individually. Nikki, I think, is going to close in prayer for us.
I was reading on that carry your cross, bear your cross, and I've always thought of it as carry your burdens, that life is hard and so on. But apparently, when you're carrying your cross, you're walking to your death. And that's what carrying your cross, when Jesus talks about it, is dying to self and living for Christ. I've chosen a prayer for the indigenous people because I think that that's on all our hearts. So if you would pray with me. Lord, lead us to repent when we as settlers deny indigenous peoples respect, dignity, and fullness of life. Help us to listen compassionately, to speak humbly, and to act justly. Help us to seek the peace, justice, and reconciliation you desire among all your children. Thank you for your mercy and grace. Thanks for joining us today. Stay safe and see you at church.
Yes.